It is a very rare sight indeed when a young player makes his professional debut and then enjoys a meteoric rise over a sustained period of time. In the last 10 years, only a few teenagers have managed to live up to expectations. Neymar, Marcus Rashford, Kylian Mbappe, and Timo Werner are those rare players who were thrust into senior football at a very tender age but didn't let that affect their development. Instead, these guys simply got better and better with time. However, it's not a very commonplace theme in football. Some youngsters burst onto the scene, give a really good account of their talents, and then when the pressure of expectation increases, they start fading away. Years roll on, and these one-time talents become a story of what-ifs and branded by their own fans as has-beens. As football fans, we always have this fear of not being able to see those players who make scoring goals look so easy. Indeed, players who average 30 plus a year are so endangered that the IUCN should put them on their list. And one of these players is teenage sensation Erling Haaland. Hello guys, and welcome to yet another amazing video on Goalside. We know how important it is for us to keep you close to the game you hold so close to your hearts, so we strive to bring you some really good content so that there is never a dull day in your life. As you guys from all corners of the globe help the true heroes of our times, the doctors and nurses and the soldiers and the law enforcement officials help out by staying home and staying safe, we promise to bring you fresh content on a daily basis. Today we talk about the Borussia Dortmund signing, who has been making waves all over the world after literally bursting onto the scene head-on and scoring goals at a frightening rate. The young Norwegian hasn't even turned 20 yet and is already becoming known as one of the most lethal strikers on the planet. But it wasn't easy for the youngster, who did have to work really hard to become the striker that he is today. In this video, we're going to talk about the Norwegian protégé, talk about his early forays into the game, the help he got from seniors around him, and then tell you why Haaland is one of those rare teenage sensations who are going to be in the thick of things for many years. Do you know which club Erling Haaland's father played for in England? Answer this and you might win a $100 Amazon gift card. Make sure that you write your answer in the comments section. So sit back, relax, grab something nice to eat, and allow us to make you believe in the otherworldly talent this young striker has in sheer abundance. It was the year 2019, the year when a lot of young football players were coming into the spotlight and trying to stake their claim as the most prized assets in world football. Then came the 2019 FIFA Under-20 World Cup, the perfect platform for all of these precocious talents to show the world that they're going to take the baton from the current legends of the game. While not many people knew about him, Erling Braut Haaland was quietly trying to help Norway's under-21 team do well, and boy, he did not disappoint. Honduras conceded a whopping 12 goals in what was a mauling of epic proportions. Haaland scored 9 goals in that game and out of nowhere announced himself as the next big thing in world football. However, for most of us, we were actually surprised by this name, and not just because his father's career was effectively ended by the infamous moment of madness from Roy Keane. This was a player who was considered an up-and-coming talent at Red Bull Salzburg, for whom he had scored once in only 2 Austrian Bundesliga games. The 2018-19 season saw Haaland score 5 goals in 10 games for the Austrian champions, stats that aren't really the best indicator of a player whose career's trajectory was pointing upwards. But we cannot even call this an anomaly. At the age of 17, the youngster had already scored 12 goals for Molde in Norway, after being given his first taste of professional football by none other than his childhood hero, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Coming back to his World Cup exploits, Haaland returned to Austria rejuvenated and with a singular purpose: to be a nemesis of every defender he faced in Austria and beyond. In 14 league games, the youngster had found the back of the net 16 times, and before moving to Borussia Dortmund, the striker had already plundered 8 goals in the Champions League. Now at Borussia Dortmund, for whom he had scored 9 goals in 8 games, Haaland's 18-19 season record stands at a jaw-dropping 40 goals in only 33 games. We don't remember if there was ever a teenager who scored at such pace, but this unhuman zest for goals is not what makes Haaland so good. We need to take a deep dive to find out why Haaland is so good. Stats are a great measure, but we need to look at other elements too. Style of play. At the age of 19, Haaland stands at 6'4", a behemoth of a teenager if you ask us. As he grows older, we expect the youngster to bulk up and become an even more daunting presence than he already is. In all honesty, a player of such physical attribute is always going to be the perfect target man, will have excellent aerial ability and hold-up play that would give more chance for his creative teammates to be involved in the attacking phases of the play. However, normal conventions do not apply to this striker, as he likes to play the game on the ground rather than bulldozing his way in the opponent's penalty area. For someone of his frame, Haaland is deceptively quick off the block and loves to be on the move constantly. With teams that prefer to play direct attacking football, Haaland would thrive due to these attributes. He's not a very static striker, since he enjoys drifting out wide every now and again, which gives a great chance for an attacking midfielder to become more involved in the offensive part of the team's movements. Amazing movement. The best thing about Haaland is that he is naturally good at reading situations and is always thinking 2 steps ahead of most of the players on the field. You can see it for yourself, how the Norwegian tends to be looking for pockets of space all the time, which as a consequence stretches the defence and ultimately creates more space for other attacking players to get in good positions. With a player with such good movement, a coach can always use him as a decoy or simply as the final piece of the attacking puzzle. Decent amount of creativity. Some people might see this as a red flag, but that wouldn't be a fair comparison when it comes to discussing the amount of assists Haaland has. This is an out-and-out striker we're talking about, and things he does with the ball are equally important. You can always see him making diagonal runs, beating his marker, and making him think that he's the one who's expecting to receive the ball, and then seeing the ball being passed to another player who's through on goal. Due to his hold-up play, the Borussia Dortmund man can actually drag defenders out of position, which gives his other teammates the perfect chance to make runs. A little flick here and there, and you have a very good goal-scoring opportunity. The ice-cold killer. Without a shadow of a doubt, Haaland is making a name for himself because of his prowess in front of goal. The youngster has an astonishing goals-to-game ratio of 1.55, and his conversion rate is insane, given the fact that he's scored from only 37 shots on target. In total, he's only managed to take 73 shots, and more than half of those have been on target. Those are unbelievable stats for someone who's so young. In fact, even if those stats were of someone who has been at the top of his game for several years. What is worth mentioning here is the fact that Haaland makes around 6.8 touches of the ball in the box per 90 minutes, which just goes to show how effective, prolific, and simply ruthless the kid is in front of the goal. And at the age of 19, would we be surprised if he becomes one of the most free-scoring strikers of all time? So why is he so good? Well, if what we just mentioned is not convincing enough for you, let's just do a few case studies of football players who made the move to a more competitive league on the back of a great season and were found out. Let's start with Italy international, Ciro Immobile. The Lazio man was scoring goals for fun a few years ago in Italy before arriving at Dortmund. Things just didn't work out and Immobile returned to the country of his birth, where he has since returned to his best. The reason why he didn't cut it in the Bundesliga was because Immobile, as the name suggests, is a rather immobile striker. Pun intended for sure. The Italian is a great poacher, but isn't at his best when not on the ball, and this is where strikers in Germany need to be wary. The likes of Robert Lewandowski, Timo Werner, Kevin Volland, and others are pretty much always on the top scoring charts because they have excellent movement off the ball and have this uncanny ability to make things happen even if the ball isn't at their feet. That is exactly what Haaland is doing at such a young age. These are the sort of skill sets that come with age. And with the young Norwegian already making decisions based on logic, who's to say how many goals he'll be plundering across Europe in the coming years? Another reason why Haaland is making all the right noises in the way he's adapted to a new league throughout his young career. After settling in quickly with the Mulder first team, the youngster didn't feel out of place at RB Salzburg, despite not featuring enough in the 2018-19 campaign. Playing in the Champions League for the first time can do things to an athlete's stomach, regardless of their experience. For Haaland, however, that was not the case at all. During both games against Liverpool, definitely one of the most informed teams in Europe at that time, the young Norwegian did not cut a figure of a young player who was out of his depth or wasn't sure what to do. Every single decision he made was on point. A January move to Dortmund happened and he was excited to be introduced gradually to German Bundesliga football. However, Haaland showed once again the sort of adaptability and versatility that forced Lucien Favre into changing from a 4-2-3-1 formation to the 3-4-3 formation in order to accommodate the Norwegian. And even though that wasn't the formation he was used to, the youngster took it upon himself to acclimatise quickly, and the rest, as they say, is history. Development over money. In January, Manchester United were very close to signing Haaland, but the youngster decided to sign for the Germans. A move to the Signal Iduna Park is a clear indication of a player who wanted to learn his trade first before making a big money move. While he might not stay at Dortmund for long, a move to an elite club such as Manchester United or even Real Madrid is something that will eventually happen as long as he continues performing the way he has in these last 24 months. The world is his canvas, and it is clear Haaland has quite a lot of colours on his palette.